Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hand of Fate 2. Let's continue. So we're doing a lot better on the second playthrough of the Oswin lovers scenario. It's still very much a case though where I probably am not ever gonna want to try and do anything different than just land on every single piece of equipment. Like, the only item here I really would like would be the sacrificial blade, and I don't have enough gold. It does feel like at some point, and this is probably a good scenario since Oswin can just be kidnapped seemingly at random every time you land somewhere, that you probably should skip some spots. But the only time I've really wanted to skip any spots as far as events is when I've revealed what the events are going to be and I know that they're going to inherently be negative. Okay. Yet more skeletons are attempting to kidnap Oswin. Okay. So we know it's not this one. So that brings our odds down due to one of our items to 1 in 3. And we've succeeded. You quickly rise to your feet and draw your weapons. Now it seemed like in that case I could have switched out weapons, but it didn't really prompt me to switch anything else out. The problem here is definitely going to come down to, like, unless I can kill the skeletons without the grenade, I wasn't going to have enough uses to use the grenade again. That should have been our last use of the grenade. And I assume now we're either going to find another grenade or we're going to have to go to an area to get another grenade. You rummage through the bones for anything of use. We have a second wind blessing. In combat, boosts life to 75 when the life drops below 25. Okay. And we could toss this or for food, and we probably should, even though we have a ton of food, because 15 life would put us above 100 anyways. We also gain 2 fame. And see, almost certainly this would have been a different event, but maybe not a better event had I not used the last of the grenades. So, yeah. Because I used the last of the grenades, we're doing exploding doodads again. As you approach, the 2 items slide by the stump. One will make your enemies friends. The other is poisoned, which shall you drink. Quickly choose. There is a bomb in a bottle marked poisoned. So we should pick up the bomb, although we're not drinking it. So it's kind of a dumb choice. But now we can't use Holy Purification, so we can't use defeat any more skeletons to try and get that shard. But that's what we're going to have to live with because we don't have any more uses, and you can't it seems like you can't refill uses. The goblin watches expectantly until you feign drinking the bomb. Satisfied with the proceedings, the old goblin gives you a little wave and climbs to a nearby tree. A band of skeletons emerge from the thicket. You ready your weapon. Alright, more skeletons. So the trade-off for getting a bomb is that you now have a bunch of skeletons showing up. The problem here is some of these seem to regenerate, but I guess not all of them. So I guess you just keep on killing the skeletons, and some may regenerate, some may not. And that didn't seem to do any health damage to Oswin at all. He seems to be a little bit tougher than I thought he would have been. As you continue your journey, wondering how you'll next encounter Oswin's goblin uncle.
Always treat those who feed you with respect.
So
Even I stand by this rule, and I have respect for few.
Tarts, pies, and exotic lies. You chance upon a wooden cart overflowing with pears, pies, and many items otherwise. A wonderful smell wafts from the cart. Oswin sighs in delight. Chester always saves me 1 or 4 honey potato pies. The best thing is the price is always the same. The old farmer hawks his wares to passerbys, tarts, pies, and exotic fruits. So, maybe there's some poison in the food here. What's funny though is this card specifically, this event, was one we selected. I know it is. And yet Oswin has a unique line of dialogue there, or they have a line of dialogue that is not that unique, that would just be a sentence said by any companion that you happen to have, and they would just replace the companion's name there. It's probably closer to that line of dialogue would be said by whatever companion you had. Chester gives you a jolly wave. Would you like to buy? What would you like to buy this fine morning? Let's buy exotic fruits. Chester passes you a bunch of blue oolong fruits covered in pink speckles. Chester smiles at the exotic fruits for a while as if remembering a happy memory, before he finally decides on a price. Okay, so the price is some pain in money. Are you happy with paying Chester price? I guess, sure. So bad fortune pain, good fortune 10 gold, 10 food. That's a pretty great deal. We have a ton of food, but I wouldn't be surprised if the end of this whole experience is going to want us to have as much food as possible. 50, 60, even more pieces of food. Tarts, lemon tarts. I've been simply giving tarts away today. Must be the sunshine. He considers the few remaining tarts for a while before finally deciding on a price. 30 gold is way too expensive. Chester seems strangely affronted at this. He takes the tart from your hands and coldly asks you to leave. So by declining that, we can't buy the other thing. So it feels like there might have been a chance of something else happening there, but it weirdly does just seem like that is a more random chance at the price of purchasing food. So now you arrive at the sleepy inn known to locals as the Dainty Fox. We enter the inn. Oswin disappears briefly and returns with a potato pastry. You watch him take a bite with gusto. Boy, the growl echoes from across the inn. A hulking northerner grabs your companion by the arms. That was my pastry. Pasty little man. So northerners, or I guess British northerners, which I guess kind of makes sense. The potato farmer looks up at his furious assailant, then down at the crisp, warm pastry. To your exaggeration, he appears to be considering eating it. Anyways. I guess we should try to avoid a fight. I mean, is there really any benefit in attacking first? Probably not. We'll try and calm him down. And I guess we're going for the gold here. For huge success.
Breathe. You have done well.
Maybe the silver would have just reduced the number of people fighting. You cobbled together a speech linking the liberty of the pasty with the freedom of those in the empire willing to stand up and take it. The northerners are moved to tears. One grabs your face in the enormous gnarl in his enormous gnarled hands and blesses you with a gentle headbutt. So I got a blessing apparently from that. Bountiful gains. The effect of all gain cards are applied twice until you leave the level, then discard this card. Any number of blessings can be equipped. Alright, so for the rest of this level, which is probably the last level, we're going to get double gain cards. Which maybe means we could double food. If we discard the gain cards, we should experiment with that. You rest for a while before continuing your journey. You wake one night to the sound of Oswald's muffled screams. So you sigh as another platoon of skeletons drags Oswald away into the forest. He seems somewhat resigned to it now, not struggling so much. Okay. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the card. We know this isn't it. I think this is it. Nope. Wrong. In the hubbub, somebody loops a bag over your head, tying it tight. You struggle for a while before passing out. When you come to, Oswald and his skeleton kidnappers are gone. Okay. I imagine you just lose if you take too long to revive him. It seems though like the amount of time you have here is probably dependent on his life, and he's like losing 10 health every move, so in almost every level, if he starts at 100, there's no chance that you really could get him down to 0, because there just won't be 10 event cards to walk on before reaching him. You run into Oswald's goblin uncle. He beckons you over to a tree stump. Goblin reaches out a wrinkled hand, an artifact if you will. Give him one of your artifacts, walk away. Okay, sure. Holy purification that we should give because we don't have any more uses for it. Okay. He bashes the artifact a few times with his staff, then shakes it vigorously by his ear as if listening for anything amiss. The artifact makes a warning rattle sound as he does. Then without warning, the old goblin flings the artifact back at you, smacking into your shoulder. Holy purification uses have now been recharged. So do we want to equip it? Yes, we do. And so that's how we recharge things. We took 1 hit of damage, I think, when it hit our shoulder. There. Goodbye, dear one, the old goblin says. Bowing deeply, he sits back down on the nearest tree stump and proceeds to pointedly ignore you.
These are the choices that make the hero or the villain.
So, Pauper Plague. The town crier announces the Empire seeks mercenaries to join battle against corruption. You seek out the watchtower where recruitment is taking place. You arrive in time to hear Sir Malifaux's plan to wipe out the Pauper district. The outbreak began there and we cannot risk sparing any of their lives, he says. Sir Malifaux the Green leads the mercenaries to the Pauper district where the poor and sick have been walled off from the rest of the city. Over the wailing of the corruption, Sir Malifaux gives the command to charge. You find yourself surrounded by corrupted. You draw your weapon and set your feet. So, yeah, it's a cruel thing to do, but certainly it doesn't. It is pragmatical to wall off and even kill, massacre people if they are actually infected. Although, almost certainly rich people would get more consideration than poor people as far as how quickly an empire might decide to do that. So I'm not sure we get a choice here whether we want to defend the poor people and fight the Seven of Steel characters, or if we just have to fight the Blight. Looks to me like we just have to fight the Blight, so you're not even given a choice there. Which that's probably a good example of where the difference between something like Dungeons and Dragons would get played out. Like Dungeons and Dragons, you would have more free roam to potentially figure out and decide whether you would want to side with the poor people and the corrupted. So we could kind of just stand back here, but you can kind of tell that the other enemies are extremely slow to attack. I mean, your other allies are slow to attack, so you probably wouldn't want to do that. But this keeps the story more on track by forcing you to fight with the Empire in that case. Whereas in Dungeons and Dragons games, it is very notorious in that the stories often will evolve far from being on track, and it is up to the skill of the dungeon master to put the story and the narrative back on track, or just let them go completely off the rails and let the player characters do whatever they want. And I definitely have heard stories of player characters really not taking it seriously and just massacring the first town that they visit and turning into the bad guys and just destroying the entire idea of how the story should go, and getting off rails. And I've heard stories of dungeon masters then reacting too negatively or being too controlling because the player characters decide to do something like that. So it is a very delicate balance that I don't think is always attained. Where in video game format, a game like this is going to keep you on track a lot more. Like, Sir Malfoy commends you for the bravery and offers you a reward. You gain 2 fame. Okay. So we don't need food, and we would get double by accomplishing this. So we definitely want to keep that. 10, which then gives me another 10, which I guess this is how it would work. Now I can decide whether I want another 10 of gold or whether I would want 2 food, which I'll take another 10 gold. Now we have 15 gold, which I guess we'll take that. That is putting us kind of high in gold, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense to discard 15 gold when we kept 10 gold. They probably always give you the bigger rewards at the end, so I should keep an eye out and see if that is always the case. If it is, then we should discard for food early. Alright, so we're at like 50 gold now.
He will keep getting himself in trouble, it seems.
Find Oswin face down in the forest, half-eaten tuber by his side. Force the potato into his mouth. Let's do that and see what happens. Target of 11. We end up with a 18 total score there. As you place the potato in Oswin's mouth, his jaw snaps shut. You remove your finger just in time. You lose 1 food. Barely acknowledging, Oswin begins to frantically search the area. With a cry of relief, he leaps behind a tree. You help the weary farmer to his feet. You keep a close eye on the potato farmer. Surely you think you won't get kidnapped again. You gain 4 fame. You can heal Oswin at the campfire. Which... no. Let's set camp, actually.
Stop and see what Oswin has to say, perhaps.
Let's see. The road to Nightshade Cove winds through forest and small towns. A small peasant family journeying to the capital joins your campfire. Let's go ahead and eat a food that doesn't feed Oswin, though, so we'll have to feed Oswin. We'll get him to 95 and see what happens there. Talking to Oswin actually doesn't seem like that's a possibility. And then trade. Let's see, what equipment do we have? A Horn of Victory, which I already sold, so I don't want to buy it again. We can buy food. 3 food for 15, 1 food for 6 is way more expensive at the camp than where we would have gotten it elsewhere. Did we have perhaps any equipment worth selling? I don't think so. Might as well just keep Trader's Urge. Let's just go ahead and heal this guy to 100. And we don't need to heal ourselves anymore. I don't think so. We'll break camp. Not really a lot new happening there.
Every city has places that the civilized would be better to avoid.
So we have
Of
dark
course,
alleys again.
That's also where you'll find the most interesting people.
While roaming in dark alleys of the capital, you see a suspicious group traveling in your direction. An anarchist of greed and a berserker of frost. You're dragging a locked chest behind him, its contents unknown. In another direction, you spy an item glittering in the moonlight. The Cry of Victory. Seems like there's probably only one more piece of equipment left to get. Maybe there's an achievement for getting all the equipment pieces, though. Yeah. Have you noticed a number of shady forms lurking in the alley nearby? So last time we moved towards the suspiciously unguarded equipment. This time we will move to the visible enemies in the locked chest. You approach them in with the chest. They drop their cargo and draw their blades, saying, "Slanus says no witnesses." We have no idea who Slanus is, but it doesn't matter. So my only real concern here would be just I don't want my companion character damaged and hurt. And I don't want them throwing bombs at the companion character. Would that work pretty well? The custodians defeated. You break open the locked chest. You gain 4 fame. I would suspect that there is a person in there. Okay, 25 life is our first option here, and I'll take that. That'll get me very high. And then we'll take it again to get me to 100. Then we could reveal 3 encounters. Well, you know what? We can take that, and that would reveal 3 encounters. which we can look at later, but I think that probably tells us exactly where the final location is. Anyways, it's at the top there. And we can decide whether we want to do the others at all. Let's see, like getting a blessing from the temple prayers may not be really that useful. And since that card is just being repeated, we'll just then discard it for food. And that gives us +2 food. It doesn't repeat that. You notice the secret compartment at the bottom of the chest. Alright, we should be able to win here easily. There is a danger I'm feeling here that if you get a really good run and do a lot of preparation, these runs may become so easy that it'll get dull. Unfortunately, what you're making easy is not the fighting stuff, so you still really couldn't ever get outside of apprentice mode, or I personally could never get outside of apprentice mode, just because that almost completely disconnected fighting gameplay mechanic, it is not changing in any way. Unless they just gave us a default bump at some point to all weapons where it's doing double the amount of damage, or your armor's doing double the amount of defense. Even then, it still might be a little difficult for me to move out of apprentice mode. Find some equipment hidden in the secret compartment. Is it going to be the horn? No, it's sacrificial blades.
Sacrifice. That is the question.
Okay, well, we will take the sacrificial blades since they do more damage. And Oswin has been kidnapped once again. Usai as another platoon of skeletons drag Oswin away into the forest. He seems somewhat resigned to it now, not struggling so much. Again, I feel like I can follow the cards, but my thought is that this is the success. And then I'm going to be proven wrong, so yeah, you can't actually follow the cards with your eyes. I would have gotten it right more consistently by this point if you could. There are other games where that is the case, where you can follow the cards with your eyes, or it seems like you can at least. But here, as soon as those cards stack up into one pile, there's no chance of following it. And it may honestly just be randomized in part 2. It probably isn't, since we know that the red card is not moving. I should follow the red card with my eyes and see if I can even do that. In hubbub, someone loops a bag over your head, tying it tight. You struggle for a while before passing out. When you come to, Oswin and his skeleton kidnappers are gone. Okay. And it seems like they add a new card instead of placing Oswin in trouble in a place it already would have been.
An awfully large number of undead seem to wish to delay you. Oswin has clearly made some unusual choices.
You find Oswin face down in the forest, half-eaten tuber by his side. Yeah, let's just pour water on him. I think that's easy enough to potentially win here. If we re-roll that one and re-roll that one. Well, I failed. Whoops. Oswin falls back into a strange vegetable poison slumber. Let's try that again at one lower target. Alright, I'm gonna kill him at this rate. we can't really do that again. Alright, let's just force him to eat a food. Which the odds and the targets are much lower on that one. I should have done that the first time. I had plenty of food. So often gaining fame seems like it doesn't really do anything for you, so it kind of feels like if you had over 50 gold at the end of a run, if you had over 50 fame at the end of a run, that should give you some extra reward, but I'm not sure if there is an extra reward they could give you other than maybe a random card being a card reward or event reward being unlocked. So Oswin's health here is 45. When I take a step, it'll go up to 50. So he's gaining 5 health. The Temple of Divine Providence provides blessings in exchange for a simple gold deck donation. We have plenty of gold, so we'll do that. And then we can decide which one. Steady Heart reduces fatigue. Huge failures considered failure in precision gambits. Okay. Gain up to 20 gold at the beginning of a new map. That would be useless. If your max life is less than 150, you may discard food gain or equipment gain cards to receive plus 5 max life. We weren't going to have too many of those. Receive plus 5 life for every gold coin you receive. Receive plus 2 for every dice gambit. This blessing's not going to be very helpful. Well, increasing your max life I'll take because you just aren't going to have a lot of chances for that to happen. We can't get any more blessings. Walking through the shady forest, you encounter a frail old maiden. She stops to greet you. For centuries, I've helped mortals find themselves lost in my forest. Is there anything I may help you for? Ask for gold. We don't need gold. Ask for longer life. Ask for supplies. Let's ask for longer life. May you live a long life, she says with a fragile wave of her hand. You feel warm sensation through your body. So, max gain 15 life we will accept. And then we'll get that double. So, we'll accept that again. That gets us to 130. Wake one night to find Oswin kidnapped. Once again. So I'm gonna just try and follow the red. And yeah, even following the red, as soon as the red went behind the cards, there was no way to know where it was gonna be. We are revealing another location now. So down we go to save him. Let's see, you find Oswin being dragged towards an open tomb by a cadre of skeletons. This time we're gonna have to fight. This time we can throw the grenades at them, so that this does give me an opportunity to use the grenade one more time. We also have our new weapon. Sacrificial blades, ceremonial blades used to banish fallen mages. Missed one. And that was just like a one-hit kill. But you'd think there might be an achievement for that, but no. Rummage through the bones of anything of use. Let's see, discard to gain food. Let's just keep it and see what equipment we can get, because I'd like to see what equipment we see if there are no many more pieces of equipment in the equipment pool. Discard this card for max life. Okay, so now we're given the second option here. And yeah, let's go with max life. Discard this card for 2 food. No. Discard the card for max life. Yes. What's the third option? Right. Discard this card for food. No. Discard this card for food. I guess yes. I wonder how it's possible that somebody would want to kill Oswin this much, even if it is out of love. You keep a close eye on the potato farmer. Surely you think he won't be kidnapped again. And his life is fairly low here.
Here you will always find fair exchange. Do not overlook the many possible uses this may have. Many will not be so fair in your travels.
Let's see. The trading house as a capital is well known for fair barter exchanges. People from around the world would gather here to trade the wares. Welcome adventurer. Do you have something to trade? You asks a strapping young merchant. Let's go with equipment for equipment. Trade 4 equipment for 2 random pieces of equipment. Trade 3 equipment for 1 new equipment from 2 items. You get to pick, or trade 2 equipment for 1 random. Let's see. The other things would be to trade equipment for food. Trade 3 pieces of equipment for food gain cards. So I'm not sure which of these would actually be the right move. Let's go with... Let's see. I feel like you should do 2 of the maximum ones. So 4 pieces of equipment for 2 random new pieces of equipment. It's crazy to do this, but let's do it. What can we get rid of? We can get rid of that. And then we can get rid of that. And then I think we won't be using this one. We don't need the gambler's jewel either, because there just isn't going to likely be another gambler thing anyways. Yeah. We could also get rid of the ring of food as a possibility, but no, I'm going to get rid of the gambler's jewel. We'll see it again later. Again, too, you'll fare well with these 2. So we have an armor of gluttony, which we can now equip. Gain extra defense if we have 20 plus food. Do we have 20 plus food?
Why we even need companions with such tools in hand.
Then ring of preparation. Seems like that was given back to us. Okay. Now we would be low What's funny here is we don't have any money choice. So we could trade 4 pieces of equipment, which we probably don't want to do. We could trade 3 pieces of equipment. Let's see if we can pull this off without it being too big of a deal. That would just be ring of preparation. Probably ring of food. guess we're getting rid of the masking of... I guess the draining rebirth is when skeletons reanimate, they drain the life from enemies around them, meaning that they weaken the other skeletons around them. So trade those 3. Shipment of exotic fruit has just arrived from lands beyond the sunless sea. Okay. Do we want to discard this for max life? See, we have no idea if there is any order to this. I need to probably discard 2 things to get to 150. So I'm going to say yes, discard the 5. And then discard the 5 again. That gets us to 150 max life. That didn't work particularly
well done.
As well as I would have wanted to do that, and it stopped giving me choices. That gave us the reward, probably just because I did 2 of the top tier level transactions. We're closing up, you'll have to come back another day. So as long as he just doesn't get kidnapped, we're done. We could camp. Let's go ahead and do that. One food for me. And then heal Oswin with a bunch of food. But we want to be over 20 still. So I'm not going to go too far from that. Probably heal Oswin one more time, but in an abundance of safety, I'm not going to do anything else. We do have gold here, or we could buy back the gambler's jewel. Or we could end the mission with 50 gold, but I think it's probably more beneficial just to end the mission with 50 gold. And we don't need to buy any more food. So as long as he doesn't get kidnapped, everybody should be fine.
The final reunion. How fitting and how sweet.
We didn't really get a lot of rewards in this mission, and in part that is definitely because we played specific cards to make sure we actually finished the mission, and we still are at a point where we can succeed and get gold. Doesn't seem like there even is a silver option here. It's either keep Oswin alive for gold or not. Yeah. My food went down to 19 instead of 20, so my extra defense is out the window. That's a shame. With a shout of relief, Oswin announces that Nightshade Co. is just over the hill. Go forth to Nightshade Co. I assume that's how you pronounce that. The P is silent. The village looks abandoned. The sky's darkened. In the town square stands a beautiful woman, her skin gray and molted. You feel a sudden chill in the air. The woman's voice grates and hisses as if long unused. Dearest Oswin, you have come for me. Entranced, the potato farmer takes a step. You grab his shoulder, breaking the spell. The woman squints in your direction. Oswin, who is this? Your companion looks at you, still in a daze. You notice that somehow he is clutching a potato. Oswin grips the potato in both hands. He looks back at his lover in defiance. This is my friend. A heartbreaking screech wrenches from the woman and she doubles over in pain. Horrified, you watch as her face twists and hollows and her limbs lengthen until before you stands a shade swelling with fury. So we have a skull, S of shade, S of skulls, and horde of skulls, and a horde of skulls. So there's going to be a lot of skulls. The ghostly figurine lifts her arms and she begins to rise into the air. So I don't even know if that's 5 or if a horde is just a indeterminate large number. It's probably an indeterminate large number. So here we have Oswin's lover is a wraith. Wraiths can drain life from with an unavoidable spell. Attack them quickly to stop the effect. Right. And I believe that means we're probably about to win here, but she is draining Oswin. She's draining the life of Oswin. Perhaps it would be wiser that in a boss fight, if the boss is defeated, the rest of the enemies should get severely weakened or just defeated automatically anyways, because it is pretty dull to have the final boss just be a skeleton, or the final person you fight. Now unfortunately, since almost every one of these missions is going to end in a boss fight, even having 150 max life, which is probably the max life you can get, I'm not going to have 150 health. I'm also not over 20 food or 50 fame, if there are any achievements around that stuff. Oswin's health is at 90, which seems to be good enough. Oswin kneels over the body of the wraith and begins to weep as a soft rain falls on the village square. You quietly leave the man to his grief. So now we have the upbeat music from the lovers playing.
A tale of love concludes with death, as they ever do.
So for saving Oswin the potato farmer, we get fetid fins, exploding doodads, which that may very well be the only way we ever get grenades in this game, which means if we want to unlock all the shards from using grenades, we may have to play exploding doodads very often. Goblin retainer and road to Goblin Town. For saving Oswin the potato farmer, we also have Holy Purification, Trader's Urge, the Bloodletting Vial, we didn't see that one. Dark Thirst, we didn't see that. And Blinding Brew, we didn't see that. For your benevolence in battle, your supplies have been added to. What did I do in battle that made me benevolent? Was I just good at battle, or did I fight really fast? I don't know what benevolence in particular. Maybe I talked down a fight in the end in one scenario. Right. We have healing spirits. It seems like that dialogue may just be tied to the fact that we're getting healing spirits. Then we have another reward or two for landing the catch of the day with the fishing event. We got Dead Man's Hand, and for making good use of the trading house, we got Scouting Party. Okay, so we got gold there, but that didn't unlock anything more. So the count here, it would still be difficult to do this one. I'd have to remind myself what was the struggle on these two to go back and play them. By the time I do go back and try and do these silver ones the second time, I am gonna have to just remind myself what each of these do. So we can do the chariot, we can do strength, we can do the hermit and the wheel, and then when we complete more challenges, we will unlock this, this, and this. And this is 4 locked ones plus another 4 unlocked ones, which would be 8 plus another 4, which would be 12, which has us up to 15 missions of potentially 21 missions. So yeah, I could definitely see there being 6 more missions to unlock. Of course, they run out of options once they've done all 21 of the major arcana of the tarot deck, which is what these are named after. There isn't much else you can do other than just minor arcana, and if you go into the minor arcana of the tarot deck, you're talking 4 suits that have like 14 cards each in each suit, which is too much. Plus the minor arcana is not particularly interesting. It's just like a 2 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds, 4 of diamonds type cards, although they don't have diamonds. They have wands, cups, swords, and fortune, I think. Maybe the final one. At any point, if I got really bored, I could start doing these adventures. But there is only the servant and the map maker unlocked, and it doesn't seem like anything else will even begin to unlock until we do at least the servant or the map maker as an adventure. This whole map is alright, but not particularly interesting. Like, yeah, as we move around here, the location of these missions don't feel like they really connect to anything. We fight northerners at random places, we fight thieves at random places. There isn't really that much of a difference. It is kind of just a generic map that has kind of a pyramid-esque desert in the top right and a coastal city in the lower right, and then more of a plains in the lower left, and more, I would assume, of a northern icy section in the top left. But yeah, it is all oddly a little low polygon compared to what we see in the other screen. Alright, well, this is a great point to end this episode so we can start fresh in the next episode. That's going to be it for this one. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.